wake up at 7 a.m. You drink your usual coffee, drive the same commute, and sit in the exact same office chair you've occupied for 5 years. You have a steady paycheck, a low-stress job, and afternoons spent counting down until the clock hits 5 p.m. You call this stability. You feel safe. But here's the truth that will either offend you or set you free. Stability is not safety. It is the most comfortable trap you've ever set for yourself. If you've been doing the same work for the same pay for half a decade, you aren't stable. You are decaying in your comfort zone without even knowing it. Look at the story of Mark, a man who believed that sweet lie until reality slapped him in the face. Mark was 35 years old and had spent 8 years of his life dedicated to a single position at a major corporation. Every morning, he sat at an old Dell computer with worn-out keys, typing familiar reports. His salary barely nudged up each year, just enough to keep pace with inflation. But Mark wasn't worried. He was complacent. He believed he had experience and was irreplaceable. Until one cold Monday morning, a single piece of paper sat on his desk. Terminated. Restructuring. Mark couldn't believe his eyes. He called his former boss, Jim, who had once been his mentor. Mark's voice trembled with victimhood. "Jim, why me? I gave 8 years of my life to this place. I did everything by the book. How can they just discard me like an obsolete tool?" Mark expected comfort, but Jim delivered a verbal slap he would never forget. "Mark, listen closely. You don't have 8 years of experience. You have 1 year of experience repeated 8 times. While the world out there was changing with AI, new algorithms, and leaner processes, you sat there doing exactly what you did in 2018. In 5 years, technology changed, the market changed, our competitors changed, but you only changed your haircut. You aren't a victim of the company. You are a victim of your own mental laziness. You chose to stand still, and now you're paying the price for that illusion of stability." Mark hung up, a hollow feeling spreading through his chest. His long-held pride shattered. He realized his identity as a loyal employee was just a mask covering his obsolescence. He stood at a deadly crossroads, continued to complain and drown, or crush his old self and rebuild from scratch. Mark faced a choice that would redefine his entire future. On one side was a bus ticket back to his hometown, accepting his family's pity and a life of mediocrity. On the other was selling his Harley Davidson, his prized possession, to get $5,000 for an intensive data systems boot camp. Mark chose the latter. He chose to sell his past to buy his future. For the next 6 months, Mark lived a life his friends called crazy. While they were raising glasses in bars after work, Mark sat in the city library staring at complex code. He learned 3 principles that his old comfort zone had blinded him for 8 years. First, competence is the real currency. Salary is just a shadow. The ability to solve hard problems is the root of wealth. Second, he made a trade-off. Instead of buying temporary comfort with expensive dinners, he invested every cent into his human capital. Third, Mark shed his identity as an 8-year expert. He embraced being a lifelong apprentice, setting aside his ego to ask the simplest questions. 1 year later, Mark stood in a brand new position, leading a technical team with a salary double his old figure. But money wasn't the biggest prize. The real reward was his proactive mindset. Mark no longer feared being fired because he knew his value lived in his mind, not in his chair. Stability is an illusion if your value isn't growing faster than the market's volatility. Don't let your comfort zone become the grave of your career. Today, take 3 steps. 1. Audit your current skills. 2. Identify one high-income skill you need. 3. Act immediately. Do you choose to stand still and wait for obsolescence, or step forward and master your fate? Comment, "I choose to upgrade," and the skill you will master this month. Don't wait for life to get easier. Start getting better. You are the one holding the pen to your next chapter. Build or stagnate. The choice is yours.